We have a huge official visit weekend. Last week I previewed it. We had 17 or 18 people coming on visits. One of them canceled. I believe it was Javion Cooper, 4-star interior offensive lineman committed to Syracuse. Heard there were some questions of whether or not he's a take or not. But we're going to go down the list of players who came on visits. We're going to talk about how well they went, what we think, can we land them. We're going to start with the 5-star, Braylon Womack. It's been reported he said that he had a 10 out of 10 visit here at UF. Really surprised him. He really liked the family feel he had here. We know he has a great relationship with Vinny Sunseri. I still don't think he comes to Florida unless Ohio State fumbles him. And then we're still battling Auburn and Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, it would be huge. I mean, I'd love to get him. I'm kind of with you, though. Like, I don't really see it. Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, I guess Ohio State could still fumble. I don't think there's really a lot of precedent for Ohio State fumbling with 5 stars. But
it's more common that they fumble them in the South, the ones from the South.
That is true. But I think this is one of those things where I'm glad that the Gators are in this one. Like, I'm glad they're pushing for it. And it seems they are like legitimately in it, but my money would not be on Braylon Womack signing with the Gators.
Yep. All right. Next one, big time, near top 100 player, cornerback CJ Brona out of Windermere, Winter Garden, Florida, Nebraska commit. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up flipping within the next 24 hours. I mean, that's not intel I'm getting. It's just had a really good visit. He's flipping from Nebraska. It would be very, very hard seeing him him signing with Nebraska here. Florida, FSU, Penn State, I believe is the other school in it. I'm not really worried about FSU, and I think he's coming home. I think he'll be in this class.
Yeah, didn't Florida pick up an on-3 projection here? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Don't think so.
Okay, then I might be thinking of somebody else.
No, not yet, at least.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I do agree, though. I do think Florida has a good chance here. Windermere kid, like, we'll see. I mean, I guess maybe part of it depends on what the relative trajectories are for how we feel about Florida and Nebraska football in the coming months. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance it doesn't make it that far for him. I think you're right. I think this is one we could see. And again, yeah, no intel here either. It just, judging by the vibes, it kind of feels like this is one that could pop potentially soon.
Yeah. Next, we're going to talk about 4-star defensive lineman Vodney Cleveland out of Birmingham, Alabama. This one I feel really, really good about. Named Florida his leader about a month ago. And then Texas got really involved. He hasn't called Texas or said anyone else was his leader. But, when Texas gets involved, you have to worry a little bit. Then he comes on this official visit, says Florida is still his leader and that he plans on committing within the next 2 weeks. I feel really good here. Now, he's going to take visits to Georgia and Texas, who are the 2 biggest threats, Texas specifically here. But he's called Florida's leader twice within the past month. Did it today. Texas, when they have that money, Georgia, I mean, I'm going to say he ends up in this class, but it's like, I'm not going to doubt his words.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think Florida has a decent shot on this one. I mean, I don't love Texas coming in for a defensive lineman. I don't love that. I mean, I think we'll just see. I would say if he had to make a decision right now, it kind of seems like it's probably Florida. Will that change when he goes to Austin in a couple weeks? Perhaps. So I'd kind of I'd say I am leaning towards him being a Gator. The upcoming visits kind of give me some pause.
Yeah, that's fair. Next, we'll talk about tight ends. Hayes McKent out of Brunswick, Georgia. This is another one. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up committing within the next 24 hours. Mm-hmm. I say tight end because he's 6'6", 305 pounds. He's kicking teams out that.
I'm not crazy, right? That kid's not going to play tight end in the SEC, is he?
So he's kicking teams out that are recruiting him to play offensive line. He kicked Bama out of his recruitment. He has a great relationship with Russ Callaway. Okay. This is one I expect to commit to Florida. Now, he has a visit to Miami, who is the main threat to Florida. But at this point, I'd be shocked if he isn't in our class. I mean, we talked about, is he an offensive lineman? I was watching some of his huddle the past week. I watched him 6'6", 205 pounds take a screen pass for a touchdown, and that's just he's gonna need to lose some. I mean, we'll see what happens. He's gonna have to lose some weight if he wants to play tight end here, but I know from what I messaged Tyler a couple hours before the show saying we might get a commitment soon, and the two names I said were Janari Carr, and Hayes Kent. Because Carr didn't talk to reporters after his visit, neither has Kent. I'm expecting him to be in this class, and it could be soon.
Yeah, I'd probably, like, for my money, I'd probably say he's the one that pops next. I think, yeah, I mean, we'll just see. Like, I mean, if he is adamant that he wants to play tight end and Florida's pursuing him this heavily, I'll give the coaches the benefit of the doubt and trust they know how to use him. But I'm not sure you're playing, at least, I mean, maybe you could play in the Hayden Hansen role. I don't know if you're playing like as a true, like, receiving tight end at 6'5", 300 in the SEC. I think there's probably going to need to be some body reworking there, but an intriguing player. And I think, yeah, I agree. I think decent chance to get him. What's up?
Watch that screen pass he took for a touchdown. That's
yeah, I'll have to go watch the huddle.
All right, sorry. All right, next we'll talk about 4-star defensive lineman out of Tupelo, Mississippi, Jaraylin McCoy. Another one. I expect us to have a phenomenal defensive line class, and McCoy's the next name brought up here. He's named Florida his leader, and I'm pretty sure he's still on it. It's very similar with Vodney Cleveland, as Texas is jumping into this recruitment. He's going to Texas next week. I'm not saying it's impossible that he also commits here soon, but he has a commitment date set for July 1st. The staff really tried to push him to commit. We're in the lead, but again, he's visiting Texas. We don't know what will happen. This kid's a monster, though. I mean, I think if he has a really productive season, his sophomore year, he had 11.5 sacks. This past junior year, he only had 1.5. I don't know if they moved him around or whatever happened there, but it's like 6'7", 250. This kid is a behemoth. Will play that F position, I think, for us. I think we land him, but got to worry about Texas still.
Yeah, like this is one of those that seems pretty good for Florida. I think the fact that at least to this point we haven't gotten a commit from him yet out of the weekend kind of makes me a little bit
well, he has that date. He's had that date set. He's had that July 1st date set, so
yeah, I mean that's true. I guess what I'm saying is though, like that's at the end of his upcoming recruiting visits, which, like you said, Texas in 2 weeks. This coming weekend, Ole Miss. In-state school that he was sort of was at one point considered the favorite for him.
Well, he recently named the top 3, and it did not include Ole Miss.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm saying if he's taking an official there though, like
yeah,
he's obviously still keeping him in the. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, can they claw back in there? Like I think Florida's still the team to beat here. It's just like. I always get nervous when it's you get a visit the first weekend and then they're going to all these other schools that are definitely still in the mix. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like other teams getting the last word in, but I still think this is probably one where Florida is better positioned than anyone else.
Yep. All right. We're getting into another edge rusher here. Ashari Charles out of Venice, Florida. Heavy Miami lean. He came up to visit saying he was really surprised, like the visit. I don't know if this guy is much of a culture fit, though. There was some interesting verbal wordage used in his interviews. It kind of made the visit seem like a joke. Like, he said it was a really good visit and everything, but, like, he was just saying some goofy stuff in the interview. And Miami's been the heavy favorite here for a while, and I think with the other edge rushers, and I don't know if he's more of an F or an actual Jack, so that could determine things, but I suspect he'll go to Miami.
Yeah, I didn't see the specific interview that you're referring to, so I can't really comment on that. But I think this seems like a Miami battle. I think Florida kind of has other guys along the defensive line that they're prioritizing a little more here.
Okay, I just saw something surprising here that we'll get to later, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't see it happening. It just doesn't feel like a Billy Napier. A lot of Billy Napier. I mean, George actually posted it. I think it was George, maybe Gator Swag, in the comments that I can't find the comment here, but they're talking about us seeing it more as a business. Now it was a family like business, but more of a business, and it just didn't seem very business. I mean, I don't know. I'm judging too much off of articles from reporters, so maybe I'm just looking too much into it. All right, next, really confident in the from Milton, Florida, Caden Hall, 4-star safety, 6'2.5", 200 pounds, was considered probably a Bama was the favorite for a while here, but coming off this visit, he received crystal balls to Florida, has named Florida his leader. Now he's still going to take that visit to Bama, and I believe there's another school he's visiting. He's visiting a couple other FSU in Oklahoma. Has a commitment date of July 5th, another early July commitment date. But I think Florida positioned itself really well here, and we got crystal balls. I expect him to be a Gator at this point.
Yeah, I think that's probably. Wait, so does he have? He doesn't have a crystal ball from 247. Does he have one from
RPM?
He has the on three prediction. Oh yeah, okay. I see.
Yes, two of them.
I see it now.
One from Alderman and one from Bender. Yeah,
I mean, I think this one, like, again, you don't love you want to shut these down at the official. You know, you don't want them to visit you and then go visit 4 other schools. Like, ideally they commit on Sunday, coming off the visit Sunday or Monday or whatever. But yeah, I think this is one where the Gators are in a pretty good spot, as long as like something doesn't really drastically change with those other officials.
Yep. Next, we got 4-star corner out of Cocoa, Florida. CJ Hester has been considered a Florida lean for a long time, even going back to last year. He talked about Florida being that #1 team on his board. Has a commitment date also July 1st or July 2nd. I can't remember exactly what the date is, but 6'1", 175. Also, still visiting Iowa, Georgia, and Syracuse. But I mean, I'd be shocked,
right?
Oh, and I don't see that. Is that on 247?
Yeah, I don't see Georgia. I do see UCLA.
I also see one for Auburn here, so we'll see what happens there. I'd be shocked if he's on this class at this point. It's a heavy Gator lean here, so has crystal balls from nearly everybody on the site or on RPMs.
Yeah, especially when the on 3 is really high on the Gators. Getting him, like, you kind of look at who they're competing with here. I don't think. I mean, aside from Georgia, I mean, I'm not sure how much Georgia's even pushing here, but not really incredibly stiff competition for him. Like, yeah, and Coco Kid, like, I think this is kind of a no-brainer.
Yep. All right, next we got 2 linebackers back-to-back here. So DQ Thorkba a couple weeks ago named Florida his #1 team. 6'2" linebacker he's out of IMG. He's from Georgia. I don't know how to pronounce that place in Georgia's name, but named us as leader again here. If he's a take, I'm not sure. I think he is a take. I'm honestly a bit surprised he hasn't committed yet, honestly. I'm assuming he's a take. Because from what I've heard, he won the linebackers MVP at a Rivals camp. And from people I've talked to, had pretty good size, had pretty good measurings Friday here. I'd be shocked if he's not a take. But, I mean, I expect him to be a Gator if he is. I think that's the question there.
Yeah, I think that is the question, is like, and I agree. I don't really see why I mean, I'm not obviously privy to like all the information they have, but I'm not really sure why he wouldn't be a take. Decently high, top 250 guy. Like, I don't know if this class is in a position where you can be turning down guys like that want to be Gators. So
yeah, I've talked to some people. They think he could rise up the rankings a bit. I mean, now his rankings. Unranked on 3, unranked 247, unranked on Rivals, but ESPN has him at 41. So that does weigh it out a bit. So, but some people have said they think he could rise up. Next, now this guy is more of a question of if he's a take. FSU commit Kayron Maycock. Is he a 4-star on the composite? I'm not sure.
I'll tell you, he is not. He's composite for number 461 nationally.
Okay, so 3-star linebacker out of Miami Central. Miami Central produces some dogs, though. So he's 6'1", 180, which is really small for a linebacker. But from people I've talked to, they think he could easily bulk up here in this weight program. Really good athlete, someone that if they end up taking, I think they take Forkba, and then you got to choose between Malik Morris, K'Ron Maycock, and if they still want to push for Isaiah Williams, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, if he's a take, I don't see much trouble flipping him from FSU. I mean, we saw it last cycle with like 3 or 4 FSU commits, so I'm not too worried there. I think he'd be a Gator if we want him.
Yeah, when you look at his build, he almost is like built like a safety, and he's listed as like also listed as a safety on 247 Sports. Like, yeah, you kind of wonder if he's going to be one of those sort of hybrid guys, like almost like what we were talking with Grant earlier about the role Harold Perkins is going to be in. You almost wonder if that's kind of what the vision would be here. This kind of feels like borderline to me on whether it would be a take. I think it kind of depends on what happens elsewhere with some other guys. I mean, maybe it's a take for no other reason than to stick it to FSU. I mean, like, honestly,
I don't.
I mean, like, I'm not even really joking. Like, I mean, like, I'm not saying Billy would just take a guy that he doesn't like to like screw over FSU. I got you. But if you're borderline and it's a rival and you can take him, like, probably should. So that's I kind of am with you on that. Like, I think Easy probably could flip him if he's a take. I probably would lean towards not a take, but I could see it happening.
Yep. All right. Next, we're going to talk about an interesting player here, Tyson Bacon, 3-star defensive lineman out of Hoover, Alabama, one-time Tennessee commit, if I'm not mistaken here. 6'4", 265. From people I've talked to, they really like Tyson Bacon, and they think he's a bit underrated there. But it's real interesting here because you look at our D-line we're going after. Vodney Cleveland is above Bacon. Valden Stone, I believe, is also above him. We already took Jameer Perez to be our nose tackle. McCoy, I expect to be that F, but could also play DT, even to tackle. So I'm not sure if we're trying to take 3 defensive tackles in this class. So if they are, then I could end up seeing him being that player who does end up in this class. Because I think if he's a take, like, they put some pressure on, not as easy as some other players we've talked about, but I do think he would land at Florida if we really want him.
Yeah, this kind of strikes me as like a backup plan, sort of guy that they're keeping in the fold. I think, like, I will say you look at the offers and the visits, and it's like, okay, he's definitely drawing some interest here. It kind of feels like to me that Florida has bigger fish they're looking for, and I'm not sure this would happen unless like they were to lose out on a guy like Vodney Cleveland or something.
Yep. All right, we already talked about Janari Carr earlier in the show. We're happy we got him out of Ocala and everything. So next we'll go down. This is a very interesting recruitment to me. So 3-star wide receiver Brian Williams out of Lake Mary, Almonte Springs, Florida here. So he's a 3-star, is in like the 600s on the On3 composite. Is he also that on the 247?
He's actually even lower. He's 757 on the 247 composite.
So he's 6'4", 185. And you look at his official visits. Florida, obviously. Alabama, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Kentucky. So you're looking at 5 Power 5 programs. I mean, Kentucky's a bit of a wild card there. But
yeah, that's a crazy official visit list, by the way. Just crazy official visit list.
Yeah, all around the country. But it's like, how often do you see 3-stars, guys in the 700s or 600s, have that 5 Power 5 officials, not an offensive lineman, like, because offensive lineman happens all the time, but with non-offensive linemen, like, you're looking at 3 teams that are like projected to make the playoffs, and then 2 other SEC schools in Florida and Kentucky. I watched his film. I really liked it, but I've talked to people who actually watch him play in person. His stats are just like really bad.
Yeah.
So like, that's
359 yards last year as a junior, 359 yards and 5 touchdowns.
And his quarterback was a Notre Dame commit, Noah Grubbs. Grubbs, one of the 2. I can't remember.
It's Grubbs.
Yeah, so it's now the number 1 receiver from that team did walk on at UCF, so he's a D1 athlete. So obviously he had some other good players in front of him. But from what I saw, he's really good footwork, like doesn't rely on his size to do everything. This is a really interesting one, because I don't know why he's rated so low, but I also don't know why he has so little yards. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, that's tough because it's like production versus like also. I mean, it seems like a pretty good athlete. Like he's like a track and field guy, high jump, plays basketball. Like
he has all the intangibles.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, yeah, that is weird though to like not be producing in high school, especially like as an upperclassman. It's not like we're talking about like a 2027 kid or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this one. Like, I kind of would say I feel like he's probably going elsewhere, but I mean, if Florida really wanted him and prioritized him, could they get a kid from Lake Mary over Penn State or Notre Dame? Like maybe, yeah, I mean, like decent chance, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if he's a take, like things just don't add up with this kid. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there. I mean, maybe he has a really good year this year, and maybe he doesn't have good connection with the Grubs. All right. Next, out of Baton Rouge, what do you think of a kid out of Baton Rouge and them having Florida ties? That feels weird. But Blaze Tomasi, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounced it. We're taking him. It's weird because On3 has limited at tackle, but we're recruiting him to play center. Out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 6'5", 260, a big center.
That's a tall center, man. Yeah.
So we're the leader. He named us his leader. But from what I was told, as of right now, he's not a take. What interests me is what other center are we recruiting over him? Because I don't know any names off the top of my head that we're trying to push that's maybe higher ranked. But if he would have already been committed if he was a take.
Yeah, I almost wonder. I almost wonder if like it depends on, because you're right. It doesn't really seem like there's anyone else they're recruiting. Like, do you think they want to see like how Zanmella is gonna progress this year and see if they feel like he's a long-term answer there?
I don't see how that would affect it though, because he's not.
I don't know.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some other visit. Maybe there's another offensive lineman we just don't know as a center that we're recruiting. Next, another interesting one, Javari Lucas, 6'5", 270 out of Belglade, Florida, 270, so pretty small as of right now. He's only ranked on 2 of the sites, so in the composite and on 3, he's in the thousands on 3. From what I was told, the staff really likes him. Like, he's a take as of today, from what I was told, which is real interesting because a player like Javion Cooper, who's a 4-star, and Blason, I said his name, Tomasi, who's ranked higher, is also not a take. And I'm surprised Lucas hasn't committed. I mean, maybe I'm getting bad information and he's not a take. But from what I heard, they really like Lucas.
Yeah, Crystal Ball just came in yesterday from 247. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with that. I mean, unrated nationally by 2, or unrated at all by on the 247 composite doesn't even crack in the list. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, these guys still have another season of high school ball to play. And there's more evaluation stuff at camps and all that this summer. So I kind of doubt this guy's going to finish unranked in the composite, but would be a weird take, especially the fact, considering Florida does have some developmental guys at tackle already and they signed in the last class.
Yeah, it's just weird that, because from what I've heard, he is a take, and I don't know why he wouldn't be committed yet if he's a take.
Yeah,
I mean,
you would think.
Mbachu was unranked at this time last year. Like, we took some players that weren't ranked as of now at this time. So maybe Lucas jumps up because they really like him from what I heard. So I don't know. All right. The last player on this visit list, Corey Howard, just a few weeks ago, didn't have an offer from us or anyone of importance. But out of Valdosta, Georgia, in like a week span, received an offer from Georgia and Florida, took a visit here. I was told he's not a take as of now. Unranked player, doesn't have a profile picture on 3. So he's visiting Georgia next week, I believe. They don't even have the visits here. I know he's visiting Georgia. But 6'6", 260, he has the size, big size guy right there. So that's 260 edge rusher.
I see 6'6", 235.
On 3, maybe on 3's wrong.
On 247.
Because 6'6", 260 is like FD tackle range right there.
Yeah, 6'6", 235 would like make more sense. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's right, but I don't know for sure.
So I'm not going to say if he's a take, he's a commit right now because he's. I mean, I don't know Valdosta Georgia allegiance. Like if you're a Georgia kid and Georgia offers, like
it's
if a kid
UGA.
out of
It's
Ocala
UGA.
or
Yeah.
Georgia or Gainesville is a take here at Florida, they're going to be a Gator.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
So maybe I mean I wouldn't be surprised if we end up in this class, but I also don't know whether or not he will end up being a take.
Yeah, I mean, my question is his offer from Georgia committable right now? I'm assuming it probably isn't.
Yeah, I'd be
and
shocked.
so I think to me, this is probably as simple as which of the two gives him a committable offer first. And if they both do around the same time, I'd probably give the edge to Georgia because it's a kid from Valdosta. But I think this is kind of waiting out Florida and Georgia to see if one of them is willing to, give you an offer you can commit to.
Yeah. All right. So we'll finish that there. We'll make some quick predictions. Womack, we both said we don't think ends up at Florida. Verona, we both do think ends up at Florida. Vodney, Cleveland, we do, but we're worried of Texas. Kent, we both end up thinks of Florida. McCoy, a bit more confident in, but also with Cleveland, Texas getting involved. Shari Charles, we both don't think ends up here. Caden Hall, I do. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm like a little more hesitant on that one than you, but I probably would lean yes on him coming to the Gators.
CJ Hester, I'm like fully confident in, even with those visits. DQ Fork, but if a take, I'm 100% confident in. It's like the same with like the rest of these guys, basically. Karen Mike Maycock. If a take, probably. I mean, I don't know his relationship with FSU and Mike Norvell and stuff, but Tyson Bacon, again, like it's like the rest of these guys are. If a take, then yes, we'll just say that.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus Carr. That's 8. And then you're probably going to end up taking at least one of these low-ranked offensive linemen in Tomasi and Lucas. 9. And then, like, if you miss on a prospect, Maycock, Bacon, Brian Williams, maybe the edge, Corey Howard, maybe 10 players more end up in this class from this visiting weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily like the most star-studded. Like, I think some of Florida's last couple recruiting weekends had like bigger names, but I think this was the one where Florida maybe had the highest like percentage of concentration of guys that are ultimately going to come here, and like also just guys that I think they feel they have a good shot with.
Yep. I mean, yeah, we got some pretty star-studded recruiting visits like the next couple of weeks, but less likely to land those guys. But yeah. So I think it's a successful recruiting weekend. Now things could end up tumbling out of control here, so you never know. But I think it's a pretty successful weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to have more than one commit ideally, but yeah, I mean, I think I think it's good that like how stacked these weekends have been. They're having a lot of guys, and it seems like they're doing a good job of either moving up guys lists or kind of maintaining their position there, from what we can tell on the outside. So